Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 528. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
I hear a lot of folks are switched on doubly right now.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Adam Vale. He's ready. He's ready to explode right now, son. All right, we got Brian Manjoma.
Oh, just got a Steam Deck.
And the returning one, Mr. Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
All right.
Back in the cut.
Back in the deep cut, you know. Good to have you back, man. Missed you. Monster Hunter is waiting for you. So you're good. You already know.
We will raise you up.
Yeah. Now, typically, I would spend a little bit of time asking Carlos about his trip and everything, but this is a packed show. And you know it's big when we got just one topic, and it's going to probably take 2 hours, bruh. We got to talk about the Switch 2, man. We got the full reveal, and it didn't really go as expected. There was a lot of backlash. So for this episode, I'm going to just have a free conversation. We're just going to talk about it, you know? And Chris, I'll let you go in there. This is how you know shit is real. Adam, this is what Chris said. He goes, I'm not Brett, but I got a rant. You know shit is about to get real. You know?
Let's do this.
Yeah, but real quick, shout out to Logic Wins. First comment, lower the price. If you guys saw the treehouse today, that's all that was happening in the chat. Drop the price of the price.
Yeah,
so
make the t-shirt, lower the price.
Yeah. So yeah, Chris, we finally got the Switch. We saw the games, we saw that, but jump into it and we'll just dive in with your thoughts, bro. Like.
Yeah, I guess first we'll just start off with the factual statements, right? They announced the launch date is June 5th. 2 SKUs, $450 for a standalone system, $500 for a pack-in with Mario Kart. And when I mean pack-in, I mean they give you a code for the system, so for $50 more. They announced that the digital titles will be $80 and that the physical games will be $90, but then there's
not all of them, right? That was the thing. They were
not all of them, but there's a little twist with some of the physical games. You get something called go ahead, Chris.
They're game keys. Yeah, they're not. The game isn't actually on the card. It's just a key. Access the store and it downloads to your system. So the card is just a key. It's basically DRM. That's it. It's physical DRM. You're paid $10 more for DRM. So. I mean, they screwed the pooch on this whole announcement. This was terrible.
They knew it. They knew it. That's why they didn't say the price. They knew this shit was gonna happen.
Yeah, you learned about the prices after the fact, not during the actual event. Yeah.
Well, it's Carol. I mean, imagine like all the things like there. So this new system doesn't have an OLED anymore, right? But yet, how much more is it than the OLED system? It's $150 more.
Jesus.
Than the Switch OLED. We don't know the exact hardware specs in there, but all this stuff started coming out today after the treehouse. There's like the battery life is poor. Like you have a 4.5 to 9 hour.
120 frames. That's the one positive that I heard, that the screen supports up to 100.
Well, that's what they say.
That's what they say.
And that's in the dock with the fan running and whatever the hell.
Oh, in the dock.
Doing.
Okay.
Yeah, undocked is not going to do that at all. Not a chance.
Yeah. Shout out to Richard Bailey Jr. joining us, but continue, Chris.
Yeah. So you have you now have a system with a controller that has a dedicated button that only works if you pay for Switch Online.
Yeah, the chat button.
That? They designed the controller. Yeah, they designed the system around, and I knew this was going to happen. I called this out years ago. They're going to push people to get Switch Online. They're going to figure out a way. They're not going to offer things that would make you want to get it, right? Because that's not how they operate. Nintendo operates on we've descended from Mount Olympus and give you these gifts. Like, why won't you buy them? And that attitude is what we saw on display yesterday, and even today. The idea that hey, here we're gonna add GameCube games to the expansion pack, And look at this. We're going to re-release the GameCube controller. It only works if you have Nintendo Switch Online.
Some
You made a physical
bullshit.
piece of hardware that only works if you have Nintendo Switch Online. Can you imagine your DualSense only working if you have PlayStation Plus?
Yeah.
What kind of uproar that would cause, right? But this is where we are with them. There's the they were talking about the
with the
battery
games. How
life.
about with the games when they were saying, oh, they're going to be backward compatible, some of them, and it says, but you'll need this patch, and you have to pay for that patch. So those games won't just work. Even if you own the digital and you transfer over, it's not just going to work like what we have with the Xbox and PlayStation. They'll work, but if you want the enhanced experience, you got to pay the extra $20 a PS5.
Their upgrade pack.
Wow.
This won't even work.
That.
This won't even work. This is like, no, you have to pay. You have to. You can't play those old games. You even said it. And shit, even with that tour, that bullshit app, they were like, oh, a tour, little person. Did you
have to pay for that too?
You gotta pay for that shit. Are you kidding? I had my 8-year-old. He was like, did they say paid? Rewind. Yeah, paid. It's like, why do I have to pay for them to show me the device?
I'm like, features of the system.
Exactly. That is the dumbest thing.
I mean, even Sony gave you Astro's Playroom, which was a fun way to learn about the PlayStation and how it controls and operates, right? They gave that away, right? Nobody's doing really pack-ins anymore. Nintendo, this is a clear pack-in. As a matter of fact, it should just be built into the system. If you're going to give people a virtual tour of the system, it should just be included with the system. You make people pay for a tutorial. You walk around it and to learn how the magnets.
Nintendo,
ridiculous.
Yeah. Wait, real quick, I want to give a shout out to someone we haven't seen in the chat in a long time, Miss Solitary Zombie, Kristen. Hello. She says there's a new feature. It's called Chat. Have you heard of it?
That was embarrassing. Did you saw the video when they showed the feature?
Yeah.
How the fuck you have multiple people connecting, sharing their screens and this chat? It was running at like 3 frames a second.
Yeah, it was bad,
awful.
dude. I chalked that up to like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with the stream. But the thing is, like, we shot a video of it. Tom's guy, we shot a video of it at that event. Yeah, no, that's how it looks. That's how it looks. It's like 10 frames a second. Yeah.
And this is their own presentation. This is supposed to be the best version of this feature.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's the peak. It probably gets worse from there. I want to go back. What Adam said about the upgrade pack is insane. The fact that you could take Breath of the Wild, which came out now, we're talking
2017. Yeah, 8 years. Yeah.
Fuck. 8-year-old game. You're going to charge people an extra $20 to play that game on the Switch 2 with the, all the bells and whistles. Like Adam said, it's not bells and whistles. It doesn't work right if you don't do it.
Just think of they really. Later I'm going to go on a rant of how they just cut off their younger audience. They just they say goodbye to families and all that. They were like, nope, we're out. We're moving up. And Carlos called it when he saw the all black design. He said, "Oh, they're going more mature." This was it.
Yeah,
but man,
Miss Cleo,
you saw it, man. Because think about this. Let's say you're a parent. Some of you see it, man. That's kind of expensive. I'll get the 500 one, right? It's got that game, and he says you could transfer. Okay, no problem. My kid's got all these other games. Don't worry about it. We'll transfer everything over. The digital will be fine. And then once you do it, every game you go to play says you need to pay $20 just to play.
Fuck.
That are you kidding me? The backlash that's gonna happen once people start making videos and screenshots. Why do I have to pay $20 to pay for a game I already own? Why can't they just say, hey, if you want the bells and whistles, the new features, pay the $20. But if not, go ahead. You own this game already. Just play it. They're just nickel and diming in every little section. I can't believe that. They might as well just charge you for booting up every time. It's like, oh, you want to play today? $5. Oh, peak time, $10. I could. What the hell? And they said, what a smiley face. They just like, oh, Kool-Aid smile. This is great. Don't you like it? No, I don't. And we're not going to like it. Because how do you do a reveal with the date and not show a price? No, that was a red flag right there. I'm like, where's the price? Where's the price? Waiting for the end. And it was like, all right, goodbye. Thanks for coming. Like, they knew it. Man.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris. Continue.
What's scary is like watching this thing, and the reason I made the Wii U comparison is there are things that you notice this time around that history has kind of repeated itself, but in a different way. So the Wii U, it was a bad design choice. There was a bad way to present it. It caused customer confusion and all this stuff. The system didn't really offer anything advanced over the Wii except the tablet. You showed the tablet over the console, so it caused a lot of brand confusion, and that you couldn't purchase it separately. That was the problem with the Wii U, and we saw what happened after that, right? How that's Now you have the same thing happening again. You have an insane price jump over the previous system, which was wildly successful. The Wii was super successful. The Switch even more so. Now you have its successor coming along, and it's way overpriced from the last system. For what, right? You know, similar name, a mature design, right? No fun colors anymore. No difference. Just it's just black or gray or whatever. Not a total reinvention. There's no revolutionary features to justify the price, and you get into two titles at launch. It sounds very similar.
That's
very,
crazy.
very
Yeah,
similar.
history is repeating itself. Like I didn't think about that. You're right. It's like the Wii U. Yeah.
The backlash is instant. I mean, everybody's online and stuff. I tried to watch the Treehouse stuff. Some of it was insufferable. But that chat, like you said, it was just scrolling with drop the price.
Yeah.
People calling for boycotts. Like, these are Nintendo fans.
Yeah.
Who else is going to sit in there talking about that? And they're mad.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up real quick because remember, the moniker that Nintendo fans get is Nintendrone because they go with the colony, right? They don't deviate. Everything Nintendo gives them, they lap it up, right? These guys are rebelling.
Yeah.
That tells you something.
So crazy. And then later on to say, well, not all games are going to be 80. That Mario Kart World, that's 80. That new Donkey Kong, whatever, 70. Third parties get to pick their price, so they'll probably stick to 60 or 70. Like, that's even worse. Because then why? Why are you doing it? Are you going to do them? Are you going to do the deep sales? Like, for example, when they kept talking about Cyberpunk. Well, you could get pretty much Cyberpunk on any platform on sale for $30.
And get a better version. Because real quick, one of my colleagues who was at the event, he saw Cyberpunk running. He's like, looking a little rough.
All of them. Like, even when they said, oh, Borderlands 4 is going to launch something. I love that game. I'm not playing it on the damn Switch. I wouldn't even think the better version. You're putting it on a small ass cartridge. Come on now. Common sense should tell you it's not going to work that way. It's not going to look good.
Yeah. And then here's I tweeted about this, right? This is my fear, right? And it might happen. Remember what happened when Sony decided let's charge $70 for games? Everybody said, "Oh, word? We'll do it too." I think that's what's going to happen now. They're going to be like, "Oh, Nintendo's charging $80, $90? Jack up the price." It's going to happen.
People are pissed. They don't want to see it.
But also for those games, right? They're like previous generation or worse looking, right?
Yeah.
So the idea for current gen developers, especially, I saw all the memes about Rockstar looking at the pricing and like, oh, GTA 6 is $100. Why wouldn't they do that?
Why wouldn't they? Exactly.
The Take-Two CEO is already talking about charging hourly to play GTA 6 if he could get away with it. So if he sees them open the door to $90 prices, then everything is on the table.
Yeah.
You'll have $100 plus standard editions, $150 deluxe. We'll be back in the 90s, and I'm really pissed that people are taking Sears catalogs and whatever from the 90s, showing the price discrepancy. We do not want to go back to that. We do not want to go back to every publisher deciding what fucking price everything should be. So you have some games that are $60, $40, $80, $100. They're all over the place. There's no price standardization. And we had something back in the 90s that nobody has anymore. What are you complaining about, bro? You don't have Blockbuster to run to try out the game now, do you? Don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
right? You're just counting on the company to provide a demo.
No, you're 100% right. And then remember, keep in mind, this is $90 in 1990s money. You know, like we don't want to. We don't want.
Geo was like $100 a game, and nobody.
So my point is like if they really want to adjust it, the game should be $150. But these fucking people are idiots. Like, oh, we used to pay that much. What are you complaining about?
No. No, we
That was
get
like
it. It
that was like $200 back then, motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's why those companies went out. They'd gone.
Yeah.
But I remember, was it maybe a year ago? Was it GameIndustry.biz did this whole sort of once everything was switching over to 70,
Yeah.
and then they started just doing the numbers, and they were pointing it out. It's like people are being more frugal with how they buy their games as opposed to what they were doing before. They're waiting till they're on sale and stuff, and we know that that's happening. Look at all these companies that have gone out of business.
Yeah.
Games that people may, I'll spend them a little money on it and go pick up. They're not. So then there goes that. So it already proves the market. People don't want to spend 70 for a game. And now you're going to bump it to 80? Are you kidding me? And like you said, what if other companies pick up? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that too. It's like,
yeah, it's going to happen.
Because people will be like, you know what? Now it's really not worth it.
Yeah.
Now I'm not doing it. I'll just wait for a sale. But as we all know, with Nintendo, they don't like to do sales. So their first party stuff might as well stay at 80 forever, and maybe they'll lower it to like 75. But here's the other issue, and I saw a lot of people also in the comments defending this, like, well, there's tiers now, and I was like, yeah, tiers. This is standard. Don't tell me that they're going to stop the tier system. They're not. There's going to be base 80, then probably 100 and 120. They're going to bump it up that way. Watch, and no one wants that. The whole point of the tier system is like, if you want to spend more money, there are people that like to do that, but not everybody wants to do that. People want the base model just to play for the game. Maybe they know they're not going to play expansive. Give that option. At an 80 intro price, that's not an option. That's a big investment, especially for supposed kids games, Kirby and all this shit. Parents are going to see them like that. You know how many groceries we could buy with this? Are you really going to spend all that time playing it? Or you just like Fortnite? That's free. Let's go play that.
Yeah. No, you're right about that, because it's like, it's a whole argument. It's like, why am I going to upgrade to this quote unquote new console that looks like the old one when you already have this? So it's going to be interesting to see like the backlash. Anyway, Chris, continue.
Also, I mean, people are already on about the tariffs, but here's the problem: this pricing on all these decisions were made before any tariffs, and also the tariffs only started the day of this announcement. There's no way that it's like, that turned on, so let's just like jack up the price. These prices are set months and months out. Nintendo spec'd out what they were going to charge. They know what their projected revenue is going to be for the next year, 2 years, whatever, based on their data. I don't know what they're using, but they have already planned this out, right? So this is what they're doing. Tariffs be damned. It will only go up from here. Right? They don't plan to lose any money on this system. And you can see that at Attitude. The quote from Reggie's book was going around where he had to beg them to put Wii Sports as a pack-in with the original Wii because they do not want to give away their hard work for free. This is the attitude of this company. So they are, I mean, it's kind of cruel. They just look, I never believed the statement, even when I worked there. They were just like, our mission is to put smiles on people's faces. I'm like, is it though? Is it?
It's not.
It's not. You're a profit generating company. You're looking for bigger profit margins. The problem is, this went too far. This went too far for even your standard bearers. It went too far for the Nintendo fans. It's certainly too far for normies. PC guys are laughing at this.
Oh yeah, they're laughing like crazy.
Yeah. So you went way too. You have no one really on your side except the most hardcore fucking person who is putting their entire self-worth into that piece of plastic. Nobody else is on board with this.
Yeah. Carlos, you gonna say something, bro?
The whole thing with the tariffs, the reason why, and I mentioned this in the chat, initially in the chat, firstly because I knew I was gonna get that response.
Oh, in the Discord,
Secondly, the reason why I mentioned it is because that is 100% going to be a reason why they're going to say they're justifying the price of these games. It's their COVID
excuse, but
it's their COVID talking point.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, because they already adjusted, like made this decision months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably even before, the orange guy got in office, So it's like, you can't blame it on that. But you're right. They will use it as an excuse. Like, the tariffs are here. We moved our plant to Vietnam. Now they're getting fucking tariffed. We had no choice.
Explain your digital prices.
Yeah.
Why you have $80 digital games.
This Chris makes it. I'm wondering about this then, because like we all agree, this price was already set in stone before all that shit. But do you think Nintendo would use this as another excuse, or would they eat the cost if they have to raise the price
They're not
because of
going
the
to eat any
tariffs?
cost.
They're
Not
not gonna eat any
Nintendo. Not
cost.
I
Nintendo.
guarantee they're not
So
going
we
to.
could see a price increase, and then there'll be a little tax on.
No,
Like, hey,
I think
this
they
is due to
adjusted for this already. You know?
Oh, you think they
Well,
adjusted?
Yeah.
And here-
Anything
here-
further, like the one on Vietnam,
Yeah.
we may see something on that, but they adjusted already. That in the
40% on Vietnam. Hasbro, Mattel moved factories over there to avoid all this shit.
Yeah, but that's we're not getting
40%.
into the tariff stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
know.
I'm
It's
just saying
crazy.
it's just mentioned, but this all was figured out months and months ago.
Yeah.
Like this is not anything that was like they didn't wake up before the announcement and go, oh, I think it should be $500. You know, and another thing that really is like this is almost Apple tactics. It's like, did you really
Oh,
need
yeah.
to go at micro SD Express for the external storage? Did you need to change it? Is it a micro SD Express really giving you like some kind of like super speed bump that it's like the games load fine off of a standard SD, and then people could move their stuff, but because it's Nintendo now, no, you can't. The SD card slot's completely different to allow micro SD Express instead of standard micro SD. So that's another point. Like people,
Which is weird because the Steam Deck supports both.
yeah, you would think that it
Go
could
ahead.
support both, but it can't. They already said that it only supports the Express. That's probably on purpose. That's why I call it an Apple tactic. It's like, oh, we made this proprietary fucking cable that nobody else has, and if you want extra, it's $30, right? It's that kind of shit. It just it makes me mad. It makes a lot of people mad.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carlos.
Here's the thing. In an episode, whatever of the Throwdown, back several months, I said I correctly predicted the price of the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, you
I
did.
said it's gonna be $450 and $500. I said 2 SKUs.
Yeah,
And-
I agreed with you. I backed you up on that. I was right there. I was thinking that too, and it's come to pass. And it was I said also, following up on what you said, I said that would be a terrible idea. I said this is not the 2017 landscape. Now you have Steam Deck and the Legion and ROG Ally. You have alternatives in terms of handhelds that are very powerful. It's a different landscape now, and they did it. They went and did it anyway.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
and the reason I mentioned it is because and remember we had a discussion about the price and how that's not the way to go, and we're talking about family consoles and stuff, and it's like, no, this is Nintendo. They're greedy, and within their core, they're a greedy company, just like any other corporation at that point. So here's the thing, the thing with the Switch, I actually don't have that much issue with the price of the console itself.
It's the games that's the problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's more the games for me. The console for 450, 500, it is pretty steep for what it is. But it's a Nintendo console, so I knew they were gonna fucking boost the shit out of the price. They're gonna use whatever they can to justify it, whether it's they're gonna use inflation or COVID or tariffs or whatever. It's always gonna be baked in. That's what
Why
they do.
not
That's their
both?
bottom line. Why not thrice?
You know?
It's what they always use. It's always it's the corporate talking points that they use to justify the way that they run their own companies. But that's not the most egregious part. The most egregious part, like you mentioned, is the games. $80 and $80 and $90
Digital.
versions of the game, a fucking Mario Kart nonetheless. I mean, if it was Zelda, the new Zelda, I mean, I know I wouldn't agree with it either, but at least it's the most marquee of your franchise. I know Mario Kart sold a shit ton, but I mean, it's because it's like you got to have something with that console. And that's one of the
something.
games.
Shoot, but not even that. It's the fact that it's exclusive. They even said it was like Mario Kart had the highest attach rate, and you would think they could still make money on the Switch. And there's a lot of people that are going to do that whole scarcity. It's going to happen. That even when people want to get it, they're not going to be able to get it. So it's going to be an issue. So especially if a lot of people just wanted to play Mario Kart, they're like, all right, well, we'll just play it on the Switch until we can get a Switch too. No, you can't. You have to pay and buy the new console just to play this kart racer.
Yep.
Again, a smack in the face to your audience. Why?
Well,
Why?
also that Donkey Kong game is exclusive too. You can't play
Yeah.
that on the Switch.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing with the pricing of Mario Kart in particular. It's let's go back, Manny. It's a toe dip, and this is why this is a toe dip. Not only because it's the only game that's supposedly announced to be at this price or these pricing tiers. Number two, they didn't formally announce them themselves. This came from different people reporting after the fact. And three, they still haven't decided on what the hell they're going to do. This is what everyone does. Something gets thrown in the air and they see how the internet responds.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the price of Mario Kart gets redacted to a lower price for $10. I'm not too confident in that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I think if this backlash continues, we're going to see what happened with the 3DS.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Explain to people what happened with the 3DS.
Yeah, so when the 3DS launched, it launched at $249, which was way over what the DS cost and what other handhelds were offered at the time of the PSP. So they scoped that price way higher. The launch games were nothing to write home about. I mean, Nintendo, Steel Diver, and I think it was Pilot Wings.
Yeah.
Those were the launch titles. So you have $250 for the system. It underperformed so drastically that in 3 months they dropped the price by a third. Then it was $169. Right?
Yeah. Then it started being, and I want to emphasize that just like with the Switch being one of the most popular consoles of all time, the DS was a fucking monster, right? That's why Nintendo said, "Oh yeah, we could charge $250. People will buy that shit. They love the DS." And look what happened. So I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen, but it would be smart of Nintendo to lower the price of this fucking thing. I'm not saying by a third, but even $100 would make a big difference. Because at that point you're only paying $50 more than the original console. Again, we'll have to see. But again, even when you got hardcore Nintendo guys like backlashing, like, bro, I'm curious to see if they'll keep this pricing before the year is out.
Like I knew there was one guy, a friend of mine, I was talking about this, and he was like, "Well, they're trying to compete with the Steam Deck and the ROG." I'm like, this doesn't compete with that because you're playing the PC version. You have more options. You don't. There's sales and other things you can do. They put the Nintendo taxes we all know on these games.
Yeah,
they overprice all their games on here. It's a lockdown system. You can't just start adding your own. I can't put my ROMs and stuff of old stuff. No, everything is locked in. So no, it's not in that area. It's not competing. So
but it also kind of is though. But it also kind of is though, because now you have games that are on Steam Deck. Some people, everything you said is correct. I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. Some people will be like, "Hey, I could play Cyberpunk on my Switch." So in a way, I'm not saying they're directly competing, but they're in that same kind of ballpark now. So to me, if you're in that ballpark, then it's fair game for me to start comparing you to those systems, especially at the price point. Adam, you got to take that consideration. It is now at that price point of these systems.
Would you pay, would you pay $80 to replay Cyberpunk?
That's what I'm saying. The games aren't. Because how many times and all the time, whenever we'll see all those big titles go on sale on all the other platforms, but then when you look at the Switch version, it's still at a full $60.
Yeah, no, but that's my point. It's like you have a system that's kind, at least. We don't know all the specs, and I'm gonna go on a rant about the specs in a bit. We have a system that is playing games that are on Steam Deck, right? So they're already playing in that ball. But if you're a smart person, you'd be like, okay, why would I get a Nintendo Switch to play Cyberpunk when I could buy a Steam Deck and buy Cyberpunk for like $10 or some shit? So they're opening themselves up for that comparison, and also on top of that. Why would I buy this system for $440 when I could spend $100 more for the Steam Deck or whatever that has a way bigger library?
1 terabyte inside.
Yeah. So
1 terabyte. They were like, "Oh, 256."
Yeah. So again, I don't disagree with you that they're not competitors, but they put themselves not only with the game library but also with the pricing, and the specs too. So it's fair game, and Nintendo is not going to win that one. You know,
No,
more.
because-
Who's gonna play? I can't wait to play Cyberpunk on Nintendo Switch for $80 when I could just no.
Or like 5 years later, if you really wanted to play, you would have played it already.
Yeah.
You know, come on now.
Oh, you mean the game might be 5 times already? You know?
Yeah. You see, but and we know whether it's Digital Foundry or all of them, they're all gonna do it. They're gonna compare it spec wise and everything to the ones that are currently on the market, the Steam Deck, the ROG, you know, the Legion. And I'm telling from what we've seen and all this stuff, it's not gonna win out. It's not gonna win out on this on the performance.
I have to discuss something else to this.
Go ahead.
There's a big problem with this system.
Uh-oh.
The way they designed it. This I don't think they're running the Switch games natively.
Whoa, that's controversial.
I think they're running them in emulation.
Oh, shit.
And this is why you need an upgrade pack. This is the only reason why this is the only way this makes sense, right? Why like Adam said, some of these games you cannot just pop them into the Switch 2 and play them natively. They need an upgrade pack, which essentially means they need repurposed code, like recompiled code in the Switch 2 to run, to operate.
Shit.
Right? So there are actually 2 different versions of the game. There's the Switch game, right? Then this upgrade pack, which is essentially a recompiled version to run on the Switch 2, which is what you're paying for, which is why they're charging for it. That's, in my mind, that's the only way this makes sense. I guarantee they're not running the games natively. They're just perpetrating a fraud with showing you like these side-by-side comparisons. Not side-by-side. They're 2 different things.
That's the only thing that actually makes sense in this case. That and no one's pointed out. This is a throw down exclusive right now. You know, go ahead, Carlos.
Remember, so like with the Treehouse Live, remember they were playing Breath of the Wild today, and they were showing the load times. Well, they're running that enhanced version. Well, I say enhanced. This recompiled version of Breath of the Wild on the Switch 2, which is optimized and running better, right? And they show the Switch 1 version, but the Switch 1 version is running on the Switch.
On the Switch,
so they can show the load times and whatever, but it's running natively. Each game is running natively, but they're 2 different versions of the game.
Shit.
Here's
that's my problem. I could see it. Oh, like I was like, you're running it in emulation then. It's not running natively.
Bruh. Go ahead, Carlos. It's crazy right now.
And maybe you guys are right. Maybe I just didn't pay enough attention.
It's just a theory we're throwing out there. We're not saying that is what's happening. You know, just to make that clear.
No, not about that. But maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention. But I didn't get the sense that old games would not be. So, for example, let's say Breath of the Wild. I thought Breath of the Wild was going to be playable, but it was just going to be the Switch version of Breath of the Wild on the Switch 2. If you wanted to play the Breath of the Wild version with all the upgraded textures and stuff like that, then that's when the price. It's sort of how that's how
they presented it. But you have to be very careful, especially with Nintendo. When they did that Treehouse demo, if you were going to show that, you would have shown Breath of the Wild running on the Switch, Breath of the Wild 2017 running on the Switch 2, but the old version, and then you would have shown it in the upgrade pack version, right?
Like the PlayStation did call it boost. Remember, if you play the old ones, the old PS4 games on it, it would just be like, oh, it boosts it, and you would see that it's getting boosted. They didn't do that.
But they're playing it natively, right?
It's
still on the PS4, PS5 is running native because it's all x86 hardware. I don't know what is actually in the Switch 2, but the only way this makes sense to me is that it's running an emulation. The Switch.
Yeah, that does make sense.
And that's why they're charging for the upgrade pass. Again, remember, this is the Reggie quote. Nintendo doesn't want to give away their hard work for free. If they're recompiling the game, if they're making 2 versions of each game now, then they're going to want money for that. That's that upgrade pack price.
That's fucking insane. But that's such a Nintendo thing to do, you know?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I mean, like Chris mentioned, I wouldn't put it away from Nintendo's past. They would definitely do something like this. I also want to talk about and you guys mentioned this, the streaming stuff when there's at first I thought it was cool, like all four or 5 players are showing what they're playing. I thought that was great
at 3 frames a second.
Yeah, I'm like, I was looking at the screen and I'm like, yo, something. What is this? Is it just maybe like, is it running bad on the thing? And nope, it looked like it was 10 frames per second. It was bad. Like even like you mentioned, Tony, and it's like even in the presentation, like you got to put your best foot forward on the presentation.
Combine that with using a camera.
I mean, at least I would say at least they weren't lying. You know,
they showed it's going to run bad. You can
they
do
show,
it.
They show it's good. They showed it's going to run. It's going to run pretty awful. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Ryan Epps on YouTube. But he's my coworker. Shout out to him, man. We had a lot of conversations about this fucking console. You know, but you're right about that. It's like, and again, like I said, that wasn't that the frame rate of those like other videos. It wasn't like that because of streaming or whatever. We shot footage of this at the Nintendo store, and that's what it looks like. It's wild, you know. And again, it's like you realize that we've already mastered this like 10 years ago. Another consoles, and it looked like a fucking Discord chat too. It's like, hey, Nintendo, good for you. You finally did it.
Even Discord chats, run better than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They run better.
But I think the thing about it is that also, like, you know, it also is telling as to what kind of processor they are running in that thing, because it can't bespokely run, you know, record video or send video at the same time and have it at a decent frame rate. PlayStation or Xbox, you can do exactly this. You can share your screen. You can literally have everybody on the screen all running at the same time. So, running at a
network stuff is an afterthought for them.
Exactly.
Networking is an afterthought.
And here's the funny thing, because they said you could like blow up somebody else's share screen. It's not gonna look. It's like it's still gonna be running at like 5 frames a second on a full screen.
Looking like 480p.
Yeah,
look terrible.
By the way, this. Yeah, go ahead,
like a slideshow.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. You know, and I'll let you get back to it because I just had to say this because Manny, you brought it up. Okay, I'm looking at the tech specs page, right? I understand this is Nintendo, but if you have a tech specs page, you got to go into more detail. Look at the processor, right? Custom processor made by NVIDIA. What's the core count? What's the VRAM on this shit? It's like you got to give me And then the other one, I got to because this has been bugging me since yesterday. Wireless, right? Wi-Fi 6. Okay, good. Wi-Fi 6. You gave me that. Then it says Bluetooth. Bluetooth what? 5.3, 4, you know, and then my other favorite, USB-C, Thunderbolt support, video out. Like, can we get a little bit more information here? Again, this isn't something that you're putting on a fucking direct. This is a tech specs for nerds like me.
Exactly.
You know,
people want to know what's inside. They want to know what they're getting. They want to know what's going to be compatible. What it can. I get it. They got 2 USB-C ports. Can only one support charging and the other one just do the camera shit that they were showing?
Yeah.
You know, come on now.
Well, see how secretive they are about that? I guarantee if Digital Foundry gets their hands on the system and gives you the actual specs, they will take down that video in one hot second.
Yeah, I'm like, what's a CPU? You know, it's like, you know, how many CPU cores, how many GPU cores? You know, does it have an NPU in there? Like, come on, you got to give me something else here. You know,
like Manny was pointing out, where's the network processing happening? Is it happening on the SoC? Do you have a dedicated? If you have a dedicated, then it works like shit. But if it's on the SoC, that would explain why it's having such latency issues, because it's trying to run the game at the same time.
Yeah, it is. Assyrian Air Force. It is using DLSS and ray tracing, but again, we don't know what kind. You know, is it what version of DLSS is it? Is it 2? Is it 3? Like, what are we doing here? You know, it's very I understand this is Nintendo. That's not the kind of company they are, and I'm keeping it real right now. Some of the questions I'm asking now, we asked them at the show, and they didn't answer. They were being coy about it. You know, like, come on, man. Like, is it Thunderbolt 4? Like, I'll stop. It's very frustrating with this company. You know, again, I understand that that's not what they're about. It's just about, the experience. But Come on, bro, you got to give me something, man. But like you said, Chris, Digital Foundry, you're gonna get in there.
Yeah, somebody's gonna put out like a proper white paper. They're gonna test it. They're gonna benchmark it and whatever. I hope they put it out in print too, so it doesn't get yanked down because I want to see it. They're not obviously we're not going to get it from Nintendo like an actual white paper.
Yeah,
like
that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Ryan, I am having a conniption right now, bro. Let me have my moment, bro.
Yeah, they want to make it seem like, oh, look, we're advanced. There's always a running joke, right? That they're so behind on the tech. Well, this is still kind of behind because you're not saying exactly what technology is in this new hardware. It's like, okay, you're doing a lot of things new to your universe, but all this stuff has been done in the outside. When my 8-year was looking, he's like, it couldn't chat before. You couldn't do this before. I'm like, nah, not like this. And he was like, oh, he's like, why did you have to pay for that? It's free on the PlayStation. I'm like, yeah, they put it behind a paywall. Like you said, Chris, the button costs you money.
This just reminds me, and Chris, you could elaborate on this. That story you told about like how when you worked at Nintendo, they were like, oh yeah, we don't worry about what those other guys are doing,
Yeah, the competitive research is not in their vocabulary. They don't care what Sony is implementing with Xbox. I used to talk about like, oh, 360 has this or whatever, and they're doing this now. They added this feature and this quick menus and all this stuff, and they're like, oh, we don't really care what they're doing. That was it. That was the answer.
We don't care.
Like,
obviously,
you should look into this. Yeah,
but again,
you should see how they
go ahead.
their store, especially Microsoft and Sony had their stores pretty good, right? And I was like, yeah, we should be doing some of these features. Nope. Not gonna do it.
And that again goes back to what we were saying before. Very Apple thing to do, right? It's like they introduce a feature that's been around for fucking ages, and then they want to take all the credit for it. Oh, you could chat with your friends. Oh, shit, never done that before.
A camera, yeah.
A camera, you bullshitting.
What? And they got their own little camera too. That was
nice, that little cute little camera.
Didn't the Wii U sell with a camera and microphone?
Ooh, yeah. Here, the camera is sold separately though, right? It's not with the
So was the Wii U's camera.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, this isn't a connection because people were saying that was like,
but it's a launch
that.
title. It's one of the launch. You can get the camera the same day.
Yeah.
I mean, also all the accessories are overpriced too, as usual.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that a lot of these design things were just, some of them were learnings from the system. Like Adam talked about this. You give your kid a Switch and he drops that thing 4 feet on a hardwood floor. Those rails are popping off. The Joy-Cons won't be able to connect anymore. That's why they did this magnet shit, right? So they just pop off, right? They're unlikely to break. But overall, this lacks any innovation in its design, right? It's just bland. They took the colors away. We don't know what's buried in the tech specs in terms of hardware, so we just have this black box. It looks boring. They made design changes because of quality of life problems that people have been complaining about with the Switch. Why is the plug on the bottom? I can't. You can't charge it when it stands up. Like, all these things. The Joy-Con rails pop off if you drop it 3 or 4 feet. Joy-Con drift. All these things. Maybe they've addressed them now, right? So they redesigned it to address them. But is that worth another $150?
Yeah. By the way, if you'll allow me, I want to go run through all the accessories you could buy.
Sure.
Okay, so we have the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. It's $80, which is $10 more than the original one. We got the Joy-Con 2 controllers, $90, $10 more than before. We got the Joy-Con 2 charging grip. That's $35. Joy-Con 2 strap, Chris, $13. Joy-Con 2 wheel, a set of two, $20. Nintendo Switch 2 camera, the camera we were just talking about, $50. The Switch 2 dock set, which includes the dock, AC adapter, USB-C cable, and Ultra, and it's HDMI, $110 for another dock. We got the carry case, $35. We got the all-in-one carry case, $80. And lastly here, an AC adapter for $30. An AC adapter.
Yeah.
Man, Nintendo is raking you over the coals, son.
Right, and then IGN put out that video. It's like if you buy all these accessories in the system at launch, you're spending over $1,000.
Bro.
That's without tax. That's
Without
just straight
tax.
up the price. Yeah.
That's insane, man.
This is not my Nintendo.
Uh-oh.
Not my Nintendo.
But it is, Adam. It is. It was always there.
This
It
was
always
your
has
Nin-
been
yeah.
your Nintendo.
I guess. But remember, we've been there since day one. We're old. We remember the very first one coming out and stuff. So
Even back then, there were like a bunch of Yakuza mobsters.
You're a bunch of gangsters. Yeah, you're a bunch of gangsters.
Nintendo's
How
a bunch
they
of
started?
gangsters.
They started that way, right? Remember with the cards and stuff? Nintendo.
Hanafuda cards were all
Mhm.
connected to Yakuza. So,
Yeah.
and there's been stories of like guys showing up at the factory and essentially holding up people at gunpoint because he thinks the cards are gonna fucking are cheating him. Yeah,
Oh, man.
those are stories like that.
Yeah. Anything else, Chris?
Well, I mean, where's the unique selling proposition? Where's the unique hardware that justifies this price or what they're doing?
You
I
can use
don't
it as a
see it.
mouse. You can use
Yeah, the
use it as a
mouse, yeah.
The
Yeah, to
mouse
play
feature.
the extreme sports wheelchair game.
Yeah.
I don't know that's I don't understand that one.
That's pretty much
You need
this thing's version of ARMS, I feel. Some weird gimmicky
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
The funny thing about
The
that game
basketball
was
one, yeah,
when
that was
when I was looking at it, I was like, you realize that anybody who wants to play this game has to have a table of some sort.
Yeah, you need a
play 'em.
table. That's right.
Can't play it on the rooftop party?
Yeah, I was about to say they
No,
didn't have
you-
any rooftop parties, or Manny just get on the floor and just do that. I don't know.
Dude, man, at
Yeah, you
this
do it on the
price,
floor.
just-
If you have it in your living room, you have to do it on your coffee table. Right?
There you go.
Or if you take it apart, like you usually do to take off the two little Wiimotes, and put them on the thing, and you put it on your table. So you use the stand on your table, then you use the little things to push your little robo wheelchair.
Yeah,
And you know what? You're not gonna see people take this shit out on the train.
yeah, right.
You know, like,
Imagine-
yo, is that
Oh,
Swiss?
hell
Dude,
no.
Yo, that's the hottest game.
Shit.
Yeah,
They're gonna at
Yeah.
that price. That's the other thing. This is with the Switch. My son, he takes it, goes to his friends. Who cares? He drops it like he said. It's whatever. But man, something like this, I could see if people do get it, that stays in the house.
Yeah.
It might be mobile, but it's not leaving the house.
yes. It's gonna
Not
move
at that
within the
price.
house, but not
Within the
outside.
house. Yeah.
Well, just to, all right, close out.
Yeah.
I'll let everybody else talk, but you stuck with the design and everything, and you notice the interface, everything. They stuck really close to the Switch, right? They just didn't change too much. They just changed like
Yeah,
slight things, like quality of life things or whatever. They stuck
And
too close
pricing.
to the system, but they priced it out into the stratosphere, right? Without a unique selling proposition. It's basically the same system over again, and it's like, what's the gimmick? Now it has a mouse feature. This is bad. This reeks of the Wii U all over again.
Yeah.
I saw other people calling flop. I'm hesitant to call flop, but I think it's heading in that direction. This is going to underperform, especially with the price point. The price point, unless they change it, it's going to underperform out of the gate. It's going to be the 3DS over again. That
Yeah.
I can guarantee.
I agree with that. Again, just like you, I'm not gonna say flop, but I will say uphill battle. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This will
But
not be an easy ride. The easy ride that Nintendo no doubt expected. Again, like you said, 3DS all over again, the Wii U all over again. They're riding high off the success of the previous system. They feel we're gonna do it, man. But it's like Nintendo. You went
all
through this
do
shit. Yeah, no, you're right. That's the thing. It's that's a whole other conversation. But you're right. It's like they
Microsoft
do
with
this
their
all the
VCR,
time.
TV.
Sony
Don't worry.
get 2
People
jobs,
better connect.
you know? Yeah.
They all do it.
We have
They
a
get
system
their
that plays
heads-
offline.
their
Man.
heads up. Yeah, their
It's
heads
crazy.
blow up, and they're like, "Yeah, we got it. They're all gonna buy this. Why not? Why wouldn't they?" And then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but unlike the other systems, Nintendo has done it twice already. They haven't learned their lesson. It did it with the 3DS. It did it with the Wii.
And
It's-
they're holding these titles hostage with exclusivity, right?
yeah.
So the barrier to entry, you want to play, you can play Prime 4 on the Switch, but it looks better on the Switch too. Just make sure you have Switch Online and all these other accessories and whatever. You're spending like $700 so you can play an upgraded version of a game that hasn't come out yet.
Wild,
But
bro.
the other games, you want Donkey Kong? Hey, doesn't this look great? Well, you better make sure you have the Switch and all your accessories and Switch Online. or you can't play this.
Yeah. So, by the way, shout out to Subgata. He makes a good point. Unlike the original Switch, this doesn't have a pandemic to boost sales.
That,
Well,
well,
it
yeah,
doesn't
I
need
said
one.
the playing field is very different than 2017.
Yep.
It's very different. Like and then like he said, like 2020, yeah, changes the game. Things are coming down now in terms of entertainment and stuff like that. There's a course correction happening. The people are with Western games, we see what's happening there. But there's also they don't look outside. You have Steam Deck. You have ways to play portably that can offer a great experience with a lot of the same titles, and you can mod the systems to play a whole bunch of other stuff. If you want to force people to go to the high seas and stick an emulator on there, they can, right? This is just reality. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
obviously, yeah.
that's
We
what's
don't.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You price it too high and stuff, you're going to force people to look for alternative markets to enjoy your software. Let me just say that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Here's a couple of things with all the couple of conversations been going on the last couple of minutes.
Oh.
In terms of gauging sales at the gate, I think it's going to be difficult because they're going to do their whole Nintendo thing and they're going to do their artificial scarcity. We know that they've done that plenty of times.
Even though they claim they're not going to do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they don't believe them, but also, Carlos, there's another issue. They're gatekeeping their own sales of Switch 2. So if you even if you're a Switch owner, and let's say you have a Nintendo account in eShop or whatever, if you haven't played the system a certain number of hours and in a certain time frame, and you don't have Switch Online, you cannot pre-order a Switch from Nintendo. Switch 2. There's all these caveats to be able, and they're like, oh, that's to stop scalpers. I'm like, Steam was able to stop scalpers simply by saying you have a Steam account that's over 90 days old from launch, so we know you're not just creating an account to purchase it.
They're handing the consoles out to their best apostles to spread the word of the good old Switch 2. Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what they're doing, and the whole thing, and it's in the guise of the scalper issue. But yeah, they're gonna do all that and artificial scarcity. So there's gonna be that, and mark my words, during June it's gonna be like June 12th or whatever. It's like no one can find a Switch 2 anywhere. No one can buy a Switch 2 anywhere. And that's gonna be the part of the discussion. And I will say this for anyone online that says the measuring stick should not be the Switch, because they'll never get there. That's the lightning in the bottle only strikes twice, and that happened with the Switch and the Wii. And this is not going to do Switch numbers. It's not even going to come close. But I will say this: will it be successful? I think at this point they are, just for the mere fact that they're actually doing things that I would do if I was a greedy corporation. Making what's it called, Mario Kart 9 exclusive to the console is a good strategy. It's the whole thing where I mentioned with Microsoft when they got Call of Duty, obviously with the conversations with the FCC not the FCC, the FTC, doing the deals to multi-year deals with PlayStation. But I always said they should, if they got Call of Duty, they should be cutthroat and make that thing exclusive, because
everybody else would have did it. Nintendo would have did it. Sony would have did it.
Yep, they would have done it as well. And Nintendo does it with their exclusive games. Their exclusive games, their first party games, are the crack that goes around that people fall in love with, and that's just how it's gonna work. I don't know. I can't foresee further into the future, see how they'll do. I think that they're going to stick to that price point that they have. There's going to be artificial scarcity. People are going to be talking about how it's impossible to find a Switch 2 anywhere. And yeah, to mention some I guess some positive things about it. I like that the screen is bigger at least. The Joy-Cons are a little bit bigger, although I will say this, there's the Joy-Cons are not going to be for me, because that design, it just doesn't feel right. Even if it's a
Never
little
felt
bit
right.
bigger,
Yeah, it's too
it
flat.
just it's too flat. Especially on the right Joy-Con, it just the thumbstick in correlation to where the buttons are, the face buttons are, it doesn't feel right. The 120 frames per second 1080p thing is pretty decent, for especially for my expectations for a Nintendo thing.
Whoa.
That's good.
A wild Brett shows up.
Oh, Brett.
Let's see if he
What's
says
up?
something. What's going on,
Brett
brother?
the fire.
What's up, Brett?
Nothing. Sneaking the cut to say what's up to y'all.
There you go, man. We're just talking
Yeah,
about the
man.
Switch 2 news. I'm sure you've seen it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Brett, the show, the floor is yours if you got anything to say. You're probably going to say a lot of the same things we've been saying, because everybody's talking about that price.
Yeah, Brent, I need your energy, man. I need you to rant. For
Yeah.
me. I need that.
Okay, so this shit's an utter fucking disgrace. Nintendo, you should be goddamn ashamed of yourself. And you know what you did. You know what the fuck you did, because the region lock Japan one isn't that fucking price either. So it's only that price for fucking foreigners. And on top of that, you made obsolete physical game thing. So now it's only got fucking key card. Like, so you pay more for a physical game that is only a box with a key card in it that is one-time use, so that they can keep selling you full price games 4 years fucking afterwards. And hey, guess what? You get fucking Mario Kart. Like, anybody thought they weren't gonna get fucking Mario Kart. And like, how great, like, finally, welcome to the world of handhelds that aren't necessarily 3 generations behind. It's already fucking crowded here, right? Like, why? Like, the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, all of these things are doing things better than you, and the only thing you have to do is like have your IPs that you can just milk for another 20 goddamn years. It's just it's insane. And you know what my biggest pet peeve for this whole fucking thing is? Now it's gonna be like the whole game industry is gonna be like, oh well, I guess we're doing $80 now. As if it wasn't record-breaking price. Like people are making record-breaking fucking profits, right? And I know that there's a lot of people and a lot of apologists. Every time I bring that up, they're like, but inflation and people need to make money too. Like games have been cut up, portioned off, sold. Like, to get the entire version of the game costs so much goddamn money now. And on top of it, you're pulling this shit. It is a slap in the face of everybody who is a consumer. And honestly, it's a worse product. Like, it's everything that we said. It's the worst product for the same price. I'm sorry
More
that
price.
it's like, and then you know what the worst thing about it is? That the thing that makes me the maddest is that this spiritual successor to fucking Bloodborne is on this, and I have no choice but to fucking buy one.
Oh yeah, they got that locked down. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you
I'm
hear
glad-
about it, though? It sounds like it's just pure multiplayer. It's not going to be like the classic
It's like
experience.
that Elden Ring spin-off.
Yeah, and I'm not happy
It's like
about
a
that either.
Fortnite.
But,
Yeah.
Okay. You know
Yeah.
what? That makes me feel a bit better. Like,
It's not
honestly,
Bloodborne 2. People are calling it that, but it's not.
it's not. But I understand why, But Brett, I'm really glad you brought that point, because we didn't mention it. The Japanese version of this console is almost $100. I think it's over $100 less.
It's
you know,
Yeah, it's like
to
$350.
translate
It's
the
$350.
price.
$350.
Yeah,
Okay, so it is
three-
$100.
Oh, it's
yeah,
less than that. It's
Less,
335.
there you go. Yep.
based on current translation. Yeah.
So the us gaijins got to pay more.
Yeah, and the reason they're citing like weak domestic currency as the reason. That's not the fucking reason. It's because their primary market is Japan, and they know that this is not going to fly super well. They're like, well, let's make sure not to piss off our primary market. Guess everybody else can go fuck themselves. I don't know, man. Like, this just feels, it's more Nintendo. It's kind of like, at first I was like, oh wow, they did a lot of quality of life updates. There's a microphone in there. There's voice chat. I don't know why the fuck does voice chat need to be just like 4 boxes across the bottom of your screen, cutting your screen real estate down even further. Like, it's not like you have a big screen, right? Like, just minimize that shit. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, four boxes that are running at like 5 frames a second each. That wasn't a video buffer. That was actually real.
Yeah, no, I loved that. I love how they were like, up to 120 frames per second. We're like, no, in those bottom 4 chat boxes, they're not. And like the camera is another accessory. Oh, and the tour. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing. It's like a little bit of an Astrobot's playroom, except lame and kind of gay.
And you have to
And
pay.
then
you
like,
gotta
and
pay
I get
for
to
it.
pay game. Like,
You pay to take the tour.
yeah, that, and I feel like that right there should just encompass the spirit of Nintendo at this point. Like, you have to pay to go on the free tour. It's just
Yeah, where we mentioned before, it's like the free tour on PlayStation 5 was Astro's Playroom, and that came with
Yeah,
every
but it was
console.
actually free.
Yeah, it was actually
It
free.
was actually free.
It came with it, exactly.
Think about it. You just bought
yeah.
this new system, and then you want to know all the bells and whistles, and the tour that show you your new hardware, you have to pay separate.
Could you imagine that for any product? Hey, you want the instruction manual? $20. Let's go. Real quick, I want to read this comment from Ryan here. I'm convinced Sony didn't want to do another Bloodborne, so FromSoft just made a deal with Nintendo. Granted, I'm hype, but just a weird place for it, in my opinion. FromSoft's netcode with Nintendo shit network. Yeah. Man.
Well, I
also
mean,
Elden
again-
Ring. Also, Elden Ring is on there.
It's on there.
by the
Yep,
way.
Well,
it is.
but
Yep.
that's actual Elden Ring. People think this is Bloodborne 2, and it's not.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it is not Bloodborne 2. It's going to be some kind of battle royale in
Oh God,
Bloodborne's
like
universe.
fucking Night Rain, you know?
Yes, it looks like that. I mean, you're jumping all over the map and flying. The guy had a jetpack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this is craziness.
Yeah, this is not the experience you came looking for.
Not my Nintendo and not my Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
and Brett missed my theory, my tinfoil
Oh,
hat.
but you tell him again, Brett.
My-
You're gonna like this one.
So Brett, you know how you have to, for older games, Breath of the Wild and all this stuff, you need to purchase an upgrade pack to play it on the Switch too, but play it, with enhanced features, higher
Yeah.
resolution, all this stuff. I mean, looking at it, I don't think that's just like, I mean, they are charging you for it, right? But I don't think that upgrade pack is just textures and all this stuff. I think it's a second version of the game that runs natively on Switch 2. I don't think the Switch 2 can run Switch games natively. That's my theory.
Fuck.
I think they are running it in emulation, and I think that upgrade pack is the native version of the game, recompiled and rebuilt with better textures and whatever, that runs on the system natively, which is why it has such high performance, which is why when you saw the Treehouse, when they showed the Switch version of the game, which is running on the Switch, and they showed the Switch 2 version, like it's loading faster and all this stuff, but because it's not running in emulation. So I think if you took Breath of the Wild out and stuck it in the Switch 2 and didn't have an upgrade pack, I guarantee it would perform probably worse than the Switch version on there, on the newer
Man.
hardware, right?
That's
but they
what
didn't show that. They didn't show that happening. They were very careful how they showed it. It was just a split screen. I'm like, you're not showing this the Switch 1 game without upgrade pack. You would have shown that if that was the plan. You would have shown all 3 versions, right? Running on the Switch, running without the upgrade pack, running with the upgrade pack. They didn't do that.
I like how they showed Kuroku Forest or whatever it was, like the one place like that was notoriously like you couldn't run through there on your launch Switch, because like with everything like bogging down to like 7 frames a second. So like I know that they're like, look at how smooth it runs the forest. I'm like, yeah, but I guess like my beef with that is if you know the lore, that's only a flex if you know how garbage it ran in the first place.
Oh man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just and the other thing too, like I noticed that I didn't catch a lot of like them landing on a lot of specs. Although I'll be honest, I got bored and I fast forwarded.
Oh
through
no,
part
no,
of the
Tony
direct.
went into that.
Yeah.
Tony can explain that. They didn't give any specs.
Yeah, there is a tech specs page, but like for example, for the processor, it just says custom processor by NVIDIA. No core count, like none of that stuff. No VRAM. We don't know what the actual RAM is for the system. They didn't detail that. Yeah, USB-C, Thunderbolt. I don't know. It's like they don't tell you any of this stuff.
Yeah, well, that's not great, especially with like there's so much competition out there right now, and it's only getting stronger. Steam is going to come out with another Steam Deck, but I hear like, hey, what are the validities of the rumor that they're coming out with another Steam box? Is that but actually headed up by Steam? Is that
That's still a
verified,
rumor.
or-
That's still a rumor.
It's still a rumor. One of the things they had
Okay.
talked about things in the future. They want to put the Steam Deck on other things. They've done the Steam OS, I should say, on other things, and we're seeing it happen on stuff, but they haven't said
Yeah,
they're doing their
well, I
own.
mean, but if Steam came out with their own branded console, I'd be on there in a fucking heartbeat.
The Steam machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just because like I mean I've been using Steam's their kind of native streaming feature, which isn't even apparently as good as Sunshine and Moonshine, which is programs that you can put on your PC and Steam for streaming purposes. But I've been streaming from my gaming laptop to my Steam Deck over my house network, and it's been working really well. And I actually just bought myself a pair of XR glasses, the XR Air Neo 2's, which is ironic because like 2 days later they released the 3's. I was fucking furious.
Oh man.
But they're really cool in that you can like plug them in and just, kind of carry around a screen with you everywhere. So I can honestly see where if you have like some sort of home server, being able to stream, that power to like even like just say like, like, oh, we have, gaming PC, and you can stream that onto your laptop so that you can, run games and ultra settings off a obsolete laptop. Gives you a little bit more bang for your buck, so you don't have to worry about your laptop immediately being obsolete. Like I would 100% buy into the Steam ecosystem above anything else at this point, and I think that fact that the Steam Deck is out there at the same price with a bigger library of games that are often cheaper. I don't think that bodes well, and it's not so much that it's a direct competition to it, but I think some of us saw it when we were younger, like the older brother syndrome, right? Like, kid brother has a Nintendo, and then like you'll see the older brother get a PlayStation or get an Xbox, and all of a sudden somebody starts losing interest in the Nintendo because there's bigger, cooler games there. And like I feel like the Switch just looks like, even the Switch 2 just looks like a kid's version of a Steam Deck.
I mean, basically, but the thing is now they're at the same price point or offering the same games. Like, okay, you're stepping into that realm, you're going to lose, bro. You're going to lose because, okay, great. You got Cyberpunk for $80. I could buy it on Steam Deck for like 10, and it runs better and looks better,
Exactly. They're stepping into a realm like you guys are doing like you're really, really relying on your exclusives, but after a certain point, like at that price point, nah. Like if you were releasing at the price point that they were in Japan, I think that would be a whole different thing.
I agree.
But not you're stepping into a realm where the big boys play, and that's not a place for you to be.
Yeah, they're gonna get trounced. Again, I'm very hesitant to say this thing's gonna flop. You saw what happened last time I said that. I just think, like I said earlier, Brett, I think uphill battle, absolutely.
Well, here's the question for everybody then, because as we all said, this is the numbers that were coming out. They haven't officially announced it. They've sent out emails of the console stuff, but when it comes to the games, do you think they can still pivot? Do you think that they can just come out and say, oh, well, that one game is 80, but all the other ones are no, we're sticking with the 70, and That was
They're
special.
not,
Mario Kart World.
they're not gonna pivot until they're hurting in
Yeah.
sales, right? They're gonna ignore all of this feedback, all this outrage or whatever. They're gonna ignore it. This is how they've always been. It's when it comes to market, and if it underperforms and underperforms drastically, that is when they'll change course. They're not going to change course just because the people say so. I mean, everybody could shout from the rooftop. People could run into Nintendo World and be like, "You got to lower the price." They're not gonna. They're gonna ignore all that. They don't give a shit. After
Oh, they
3 4
won't need
months
to.
of pain of low sales, that's when they'll redo everything.
Oh, they will need to. Sony and Microsoft are going to follow suit on the $80 tag real quick. And honestly, if GTA doesn't pop
They
the
don't
cherry on the $100 price tag, if they do pop the cherry on the $100 price tag, we might be seeing $100 games from here on out.
The
Anyway,
problem is Sony and Microsoft don't have anything worth $80 right now to announce. They even put that tag on. Like what's coming out that they have to find something. They got to stick something out.
There we go.
Yeah, but
There we
yeah,
go.
there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
1
it.
hour,
Yeah,
17
you got it.
minutes.
Right, you gotta have something. You gotta have something to put that 80 price tag on right now. Maybe Wolverine, but there's still no date for that.
Yeah, no, but regardless, and I said this earlier in the show, the floodgates are open now. If Nintendo comes out with with these $80 games, and people buy the $80 games, other publishers are gonna be like, "Oh, us too," you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, competitive price.
It happened with Sony. It happened with Sony. They were like $70 games. Everybody was like, "Okay, $70 games," you know.
Yeah, Nintendo, and I'm gonna say I'm pissed off some Nintendo fans here. Nintendo has now officially sucked so hard that they have begun to affect other realms of gaming.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Now the negative pull of this Nexus is fucking up my good time.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll follow
Hopefully
that.
not, but I will say this, Brett. At least give the Nintendo fans this amount of props. They are fighting back against it. They're not happy.
They are upset too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have seen the Treehouse chat.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, like
Good on you.
today, Brett, during the Treehouse event on YouTube in the chat, I am not exaggerating. 90% of the comments were drop the price. These are hardcore Nintendo guys saying this shit. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm going to
Good on
say
you
something
guys.
now that I hope doesn't happen, but it's funny that because things work in cycles. Can you imagine if Nintendo is the final nail in the coffin that crashes the current game industry?
Yeah,
When yet in the 80s they were the one to kind of save it.
full circle, right?
Full circle, they come out, they cause this price explosion, and sales of games crash. The market can't course correct fast enough, and we're in a slow crash. They could accelerate it completely. This would completely break it if it comes to pass. If people are like $80, $90, $100 games, if that's what's on the table, let's do it. And people just go, we're not buying this shit anymore.
Fuck. Yeah, I mean, that could do it. That'd be insane. I didn't even consider that, Whew.
It's like poetry, it repeats.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So
George Lucas. It's
like poetry, it rhymes.
It rhymes.
Yeah.
Over, man.
yeah, a Syrian Nerfer goes, can you sell your Switch 2 games? Like, how does the game capture the game card feature work? Who knows, man? We don't know yet.
You can.
Yeah.
No,
From what I
What are you gonna sell? A code? Go ahead, Brett.
I've yet to verify this, but no, it's kind of like buying you plug the card in, and the card acts as a key to then download a digital version of the game from the store, and that key is a single-use code. So I think after that, the card is
useless.
I'm not sure. I feel like it's the worst of both worlds. I think the card might be necessary.
It is necessary. They confirmed
it's
that.
necessary to play it, but you can't then sell that card to somebody else and then have them play it. This is a problem, and I've discussed this before. While I worked there, Reggie gave us a whole talk about Nintendo hates losing residual income. They hate the aftermarket. They hate the fact that you could go to a store or to eBay or whatever and buy old games. They can't control any of that.
Yeah.
They're not making any of that money. This is an anti-consumer tactic that they've wanted to do for a long time to rob you of being able to do that. They want you to go to them as the sole source for purchasing these games and repurchasing them.
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, I mean, remember they were the ones that tried to sue Blockbuster.
They tried to end video game rentals
Yep.
in America. Yeah, they did it in Japan through
Which they did in
legislation.
Japan, yeah.
They tried to do it here. It didn't work. So they tried to sue their way into that, and it didn't work. Right. But yes, this is the same company. This is what they're trying to do. They hate not being able to make residual income off of used games
Yeah.
because they can't. Right. So what do? You prevent you just kill the used market. Like you can't do Switch 2 used games. Unless they're on the card, unless it's a full game on the card, that's it. Everything else is not going to work. These game keys, that's it. It's one-time use, like Brett said.
Man.
They also released. There's also a list that you can actually look at and see what games are the game cards, what games are just the code inside of a box, and then what games are actual physical games.
Yeah.
Oh, so great. So you're just not even going to know. It's not even all of just one. That's almost worse. I don't know, man. Like it's.
Well, there's some rhetoric on the front that tells you what you're getting, but at the same time, it's like there's all these different like things. So it's like, okay, I guess the studio can't afford to publish the cart version, right? All right, we'll just put a code in a box and put that in a store. It's so weird.
I mean, Steam's been doing that for years. The difference there is I think that Steam has earned its good graces in the fact that it drops the prices of things so absolutely like rock bottom at least twice a year that people are just like, I don't know, man. I'll just wish list and get it later.
Also, Brett, like no games, even like AAA games, launch at like the crazy prices that they are on consoles.
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
that's why I'm just like, man, like honestly, I want Steam to make the console just so I can fully just go into just one single ecosystem anymore. Because like between like and I know that there are options other than the Steam Deck. I love my Steam Deck. I'm probably gonna get a Steam Deck too. Steam is the operating system that you're or the platform that you're running if you're gaming on PC, hands down. I think they get over 900 million users. Like it's honestly with what we've been getting, I'm just kind of like I'd really just love to move fully into Valve's ecosystem, but then that would probably become terrible too because everything in the world is shit. So it's just greed ruins everything.
Yeah, we need options. We always need options. And thankfully in the handheld space we have plenty of options. And this will be the telling point right now. Like you mentioned, we have the Steam Deck, we have ROG, we have Legion. Now the Steam Deck, the Switch 2 is going to drop in this market, and the proof is in the pudding now. Do people really want good gaming experiences on a handheld? If they do, it's not the Switch 2. Or people just really into Mario.
Yeah.
Because that's it. It's all about the first party games. If you're really into that, then you have no other place to go. You're really going to have to pay out of pocket to join into that. I don't know. Like you said, Tony, all those people in the chat, those are the diehards that were watching that thing and lower the price. That's great. You're vocal. Let's see if you could back that up by closing up your wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Vote with your wallet, people.
That's the only way. That's the only language they understand. That is absolutely true. You have to do it. That's the only way they learned a lesson with the 3DS. That's the only way they course corrected so heavily going from the Wii U to the Switch. They had to make a revolutionary change to the system. They couldn't rely on GameCube hardware and motion controls anymore. They were forced to make a change. This is going to force them to make a lot of concessions, a lot of changes, but only if you don't buy into it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think in the beginning, obviously, the console will sell out because FOMO, those type of guys. But the real story will be come the holidays, right? Will families be willing to pay those prices? It's a tough pill to swallow. Go ahead, Ben.
They're gonna do that whole limited quantity thing, right?
But artificial scarcity, Carlos was
artificial scarcity. But here's the thing: scalpers have become so prodigious that I think that plan might, for the first time, really backfire on them because they'll all be just snatched up by scalpers, which will then make it seem more expensive and out of touch than it than it even actually
But
is.
even the scalpers, this might actually hurt them even more because yeah, you buy it at this price and then you try to mark it up by 200-300 or whatever to make that big profit. But if people are already put off by the
Yeah,
price, like
good point.
this is
Yeah,
way
they're
too
not going to pay a
much.
scalper markup then.
Yeah, exactly.
That markup's going to be too high, and I could see them all sitting on it because it's not worth it.
Like, yeah, if this was like a hot ticket item that everybody wanted, of course, but I don't think it's going to be like that, man. I don't think history's going to repeat itself like we said before, you know?
No, and you'll remember like last time was when I was like I was gonna kick off, and Tony was like I don't know about all that, like, and not saying that I'm right, but the big point that I was standing on last time was this was a kind of a form factor, and this was a thing. It did something new, right? It allowed you to access the space in a different way that was helpful for like young parents, people who share TVs, people who are rooming. There was a lot of demographics that this worked real well with. The problem now is that it shares that market with so many other things that do that same job just as well or better. So that if you're a college student, you probably already have an ROG Ally or something like that to do your gaming on, or you have a laptop or you have a desktop or you have a Steam Deck or you have something that has probably already replaced your Switch. And I'm not honestly sure that the Switch 2 is going to be enough to pull you out of the ecosystem that you've already invested in. Because like Steam Deck, for instance, right? Like, I bought the first gen Steam Deck, and I don't know that this thing even now outperforms that. So since I replaced my Switch with a Steam Deck, why would I replace my Steam Deck with a Switch 2 if it's just worse still in every way? Like it's just it's a crowded ecosystem that you're trying to get people out of, and the only way that you're doing it really is with games. And I get that there's probably a game there that everybody wants. I don't think that it's Mario Kart. I don't. I mean, it'll be Zelda, a new Zelda maybe for a lot of people. Not even me
They announced
anymore.
the new Pokemon is going to also have a Switch version.
Yeah, Donkey Kong's also an exclusive. Not at launch, but it's coming like a week later. By the way, real quick, shout out to Dirty Death Dealer who just gifted a bunch of subs to people. So shout out to him, man. Homie, shout out to you, brother. Yeah, again, like, what is the killer app? Like, is it Mario Kart World? Obviously, Mario Kart 8 was the biggest selling game on Switch, but I don't know if this one's going to have that juice, especially at that price, bro.
I mean, Mario Kart World sounds interesting, but it's not that interesting.
Yeah,
The big kicker with all this is always going to be it's just the family people that want to get them for their kids and stuff. So my wife, she's not into gaming, doesn't know and stuff. So I told her about this console. I said, what it can do. I said, how much do you think they're charging? And this is her from her mouth saying, oh, no, that sounds like a good. It's kind of expensive. Maybe what, $200?
Wow, 200.
And she said it's kind of expensive, $200. I'm like, the regular Switch. They go, what? How much you pay for that? It's like you could. And when I said 500, no. And so she's not into the gaming or any of that. So I could just imagine how many other families that are like, or the grandparents that want to get their grandson or daughter the new systems. Like, okay, I'll go and buy. And they see that big 500 and all the 80. They're like, wait, isn't this a kid's toy? Like what?
Not anymore, baby.
Isn't this like something? It's a little go-kart guy. Like, no, I'm not getting I thought that was for the bigger boy. Isn't this for kids? No, kids are cut out. Kids there is no more kid console anymore. That's it. This is it. You're done.
Also, I just want to say, how fucking dare you put an LCD screen in this? We all know that this is just so you can do the OLED refresh and get people to buy a second fucking one. I see what you're fucking doing here, and it's shady snake oil bullshit.
Oh, Brett, it's going to get better. I predict they're going to do the same thing they did with the Switch. A year from now, you're going to get the Switch 2 Lite, right? That little bit lower price, and then a year after that, you get the OLED. They're going to do the same shit again, bro.
Of course they are. Yep. Exactly. It's and well, just the idea of like bro, like unless you are really trying to keep the price down on this thing, which clearly you're not, why are you putting an LCD screen into it?
You know why? 'Cause you just said it because they want to sell you that OLED
Shame.
later. You know?
Yeah, and that's just fucking devious. Like it feels like how hard can you milk your customers before you bruise their nipples? Because I'm pretty sure we're there.
Man.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know, there's one feature that
Mhm.
my Steam Deck OLED has that I didn't think was going to be a big deal and turned out to be a huge deal. And it's the anti-glare screen.
Yeah.
It's got that I did not know. I never had any anti-glare in it. So when I got those, like, all right, anti-glare, what's the big deal? Holy moly. That thing is amazing. Like, compared when you're in areas with like bright fluorescent lights and stuff. I mean, I was like, oh man, I can't see myself playing anything else that does not have that. So it
Bro,
just
Adam,
seems weird. Yeah.
have you tried any of these XR glasses yet?
No,
They're
I'm
basically
going to talk to you
sunglasses
about
to
that
protect
when
the
it's done.
display.
I have a lot of questions. About this. You're the only person I know that has
Yeah, we'll
it.
talk
So
about that off air. You know?
Yes.
Bruh.
It's crazy. All right. Do we have any other? Actually, you know what? Because we haven't heard from some of the other guys here. Brian, what are your thoughts on the Switch 2, bro?
Interesting that they've gone down this route of all places. Again, I'm just going by what's been said and what I've seen online. I didn't watch the Treehouse. I had no interest. The price point of the machine itself seems reasonable. I'm not going to say it's great pricing. I'm not saying it's awful pricing, but it seems reasonable. Let's actually see what the hardware tech can do for that price point. The price of games is highly concerning. I don't really want. I I really don't think they can justify prices at that point, and it's just ridiculous what they're doing. I am not going to be surprised if there's some sort of price change or conversion or steering the ship away from that, because it seems like it's way too steep, especially how things are these days. It's just like charging like $80-$90 for games. Like these games, like they better be like GTA 5 or something, you know?
What's the outlet saying out there in England over there? How are they seeing this with the pricing? How does that?
The pricing is, again, it's fairly reasonable. It's just the price of the games that people are really concerned about.
Definitely.
So it seems like it's like a general thing where people are like, yeah, this is way too much for games. So I have no idea how that's going to affect the Switch 2 in how many copies it sells and how well it is received. Again, for all I know, it could just be a case of people just accept it, you know? So I don't know. I honestly have no idea. Let's see how things go. Like, I do like how they've tried to deal with scalpers in that, you need to have a Switch account for so long, you need to have played so much and purchased whatnot. I like that they are trying something rather than just, let's just open up to the masses, and if you can't buy one, then that's on you. So I do prefer companies doing something rather than just opening the floodgates. And then before you know it, they're all on eBay for 10 times the price, and no one can actually get one. Again, how they're doing it, we can discuss for ages, but I like that it's something being done. And apart from that, I'm just bewildered by how the hell they're implementing the backwards compatibility thing. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so far from the world of just, just plug it in and it just works. It's like, no, you need to like buy this game card that's actually not got the game on it, but got a key, but then you can't
It's insane.
play the game without the key. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, I understand it's to tackle piracy, but again, within like 3 months, the whole thing will be jailbroken. So good luck to them, I guess.
It's
It
Nintendo.
feels like it's fuck you to retailers, doesn't it? Like, it feels like it's meant to drive them away from retailers. Like, it's $10 more, and you have to have the card, but the card doesn't actually have the game on it. So, like, you still have to have the card. but you could just download it digitally, pay $10 less, and not have to have the card. Like, I get it. You want to cut retailers out because you guys make higher margins, but like, that just feels, I don't know.
Well, that's the cutoff, the reselling market. I think they don't want someone.
Nintendo doesn't like it, you know.
Well, yeah, but why make it $10 more? It's just $10 more to only have a code on it, especially.
Yeah, by the way, remember, not every game is like that. Some will actually have the full game on the cartridge. It's just some games.
Yeah, but the ones that aren't will still be $10 more, won't they?
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
You'll still, yeah.
So, like, at that point,
it's still scummy.
Like
yeah.
Well, not even. It just doesn't feel. It just feels overtly transparent. Like, I get that in America we started, quietly selling things at cheaper with no disk drive to keep people tied to the ecosystem. Like, it was all very quiet and slimy and sneaky. Here it just feels like Switch is being like, fuck you, retailers, deal with it. Like I'm a little shocked that Japanese retailers aren't pushing back against this hard, because this just feels like they lose in every scenario, and it pushes the people that like if you own a video game shop in Japan, and a lot of your customer base is Switch customers, this feels like it's actively pushing them out of your store, even if they go there to buy new games. Like, why would they go there to buy a new game that may or may not actually be a game and may just be a console thing, when they could just download it and put it on an SD card?
To be fair, we don't know what the reactions of the Japanese market are, so just keep that clear. We don't know. They could be upset we don't know.
I'm sorry. I wasn't meaning to insinuate that they weren't. I'm trying to figure out what the executives of Nintendo expected to happen, other than fuck it, they'll deal with it. And like, that just feels like such a foreign concept, but it really shouldn't, because our companies do it all the time. So I guess
it also makes you wonder what's next. So, like, let's say, all right, Mario World, $80. All right, you get it, $80. I mean, another buddy, the same one that was like, oh, so just get the bundle. Who wouldn't get the bundle? Well, what if the bundle's not available? Right? There's no bundle. Now you have to get the standard, the $4.50 whatever. But then that means you have to buy the Mario Kart World, if that was the only game you want to get, at the full $80. Okay, fine, you do this. But what about the expansion packs? How much are those going to be? Because they're going to have it. You know that there's going to be multiple SKUs. People keep forgetting this is 80. They're not saying 80 and it's everything. It's everything. No, it's not. This is 80 for the base. Just like we see now, there'll probably be a deluxe version, collector's version. They'll keep doing this. The price is going to go up for all of them. So then, just like when we're accustomed to seeing for expansions, maybe like $20, $30 or something like that. It could be $60 to $70 just for an expansion. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Assyrian Air Force asked, did you guys see Angry Joe's reaction? No, I don't watch that guy, so I didn't see that.
I heard about it. I didn't get to see it, but
I saw his tweets, but I didn't want to watch it till we had talked here.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't want to watch something else to color my opinion. I had my own thoughts.
Yeah, that's the reason I don't read other reviews, by the way.
Yeah.
But
after this, though, I'll probably look at it.
Yeah. By the way, speaking about reactions, I just casually found this on Twitter because, again, people are not happy. Wow, way to kill all momentum and hype for the Switch 2. $80 digital games and $90 for physical. 4 games would be the cost of the fucking console. I feel zero remorse in emulating. This is literal robbery. Damn.
Yeah.
That's great. Plus the tax.
These are Nintendo people saying this, bro.
That they're gonna pirate
can you imagine how many dollar dues this costs?
Yeah, shit.
And I said it was also a mistake to do all this litigation against the emulator sites.
That's right, yeah.
For millions of dollars because they claim like they were impacted financially over
games they don't even sell.
Yeah, they don't sell. They don't provide the ROMs, right? They provide emulation. Emulation is perfectly legal. Mm-hmm. So here, especially, so it's ridiculous. Like, and then they stomped out. They sent the DMCA to that Ryu Jinx emulator to stop them.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
all this does is spawn spin-off projects. They've already forked all these projects, and they're gonna keep making this shit. All you're doing is making people madder when you do this. When you attack Emo Paradise, or when you attack these guys, all it does is make people angry, and they're just going to find alternative ways to get this stuff. And then when you go, well, the only option is to pay us our blood money, people are going to flip you the finger and then raise the sails and go out in the high seas. That's what's good, is the sentiment that's going around now.
I'm sure there's gonna be bounties out there put to like, hey, 10,000, 20,000 for the first that can hack the Switch 2.
Or yeah,
They've done it before.
Yeah,
It's a
shout
good
out.
thing there's
Yeah.
not like a system out there that came jailbroken out of the box that you could just run emulators and shit like that off Windows.
Yeah, no, too bad we don't have that.
That would be bad news.
Yeah. I also want to hear, Rich. I want to hear your thoughts because I heard a rumor that you're planning to pre-order 2 of these next week.
Oh,
What's up with that?
That's a very interesting rumor. I don't know where the hell. Well, let me make a quick comment before I respond to that. Let me just say, I think I speak for everyone. It's awesome to hear you back on here, Brett. It's always great to hear you on the show. So I wanted to say that.
Oh, hey, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So as for the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation,
Actually, before we go on, Rich, what mic are you using?
Yeah.
Because you're sounding kind of off right now. Just make sure, because I want to hear the richness of Rich. You know.
uh-oh.
'Cause you
One
sound-
second.
Yeah, it sounded a little hot. Just make sure everything's all right.
Yeah.
You know, little hot.
that's probably how the Nintendo Switch 2 voice chat.
Oh, that's it. That's gonna
Yeah.
when everybody.
Yeah,
jumps
right.
in
It's gonna
the
sound like
chat.
that. While Rich is fixing that, Mighty Nerd wants to know, Carlos, will you buy the Switch 2?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Speaking of controversy.
Whoa.
Well, yeah, I mean, so he and Rich could play Concord on it together, right?
It's the Concord console.
You know.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm ready to answer the question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh damn! You're still gonna buy it.
But I'm not. It's not an enthusiastic yes. It's just like I want to play.
You like new things.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. That's part of the equation here. I do want to play Donkey Kong.
The game looks kind of fun. Not gonna lie.
It looks
Donkey
like Mario
Kong.
Odyssey.
Yeah, it does. It does. I actually wrote an article about this. Game looks pretty dope. All right, Rich. Let's see how you sound now, man.
No pressure.
Testing 1, 2.
Just talk a little bit more.
Testing 1, 2.
All right, that sounds pretty good. So yeah, just let us know why you're pre-ordering 2 Switches.
All right. So, in regards to the Nintendo presentation, I personally thought it was phenomenal because it confirmed exactly why I will not be getting a Nintendo Switch 2. I don't have an issue with the cost of the system. Just like Carlos said, that makes sense, and I knew Nintendo was going to do that. But the games, I did not see one game where I'm like, yeah, I would definitely spend $500 to play this game. And I laughed when they said $80 and $90 for the digital and physical. I figured, well, and I'm sure that Adam will understand this reference. When I heard that pricing, I thought to myself, whoever is over at Nintendo and decided on that pricing, they are smoking the exact same weed that WWE is smoking for charging so much money for the WrestleMania tickets in Las Vegas.
Crazy.
Crack
So
rocks.
crazy.
Crack rocks.
Crack rocks talking about when you want to get tickets for an event and there's financing options, you're charging too much. You're charging too much.
Yeah. Does
Yeah,
that come with a
this is-
hotel room and everything?
Oh my lord.
Yeah, that's more some like meth ripping
Yeah,
wire out of
it's-
walls energy. Okay, so like
Go ahead, bro.
to both of you guys, I gotta ask you this. Like, you both say like you don't have a problem with the price of the console. because that's what it costs, right? But we've talked about like it's $334 in Japan.
Yeah,
So
that's a
is the
problem.
console
Oh yeah.
is the console worth $450 or is it worth $334?
Yeah, because you have to assume
Well-
even in Japan they're selling it to get a profit. They're not selling it at a loss, So it's probably worth
Well-
less than that, Brett. Go ahead, Rich.
You also
Well, no,
also another thing on that version, you have to actually go through quite a bit more hoops in order to get that version of the console. The one that's readily available in Japan is actually they call the international version.
Interesting. The one we're getting, basically.
Yeah, the one we're getting, but that one that's exclusive to Japan, that one you have to go through a little bit more things with their site and stuff in order to get it.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think the $334 one has any different hardware. It's just
No, it's
region
not
locked.
different at all. It's
Okay,
it's just
so-
region locked one, yeah.
So to all the people who say like, the price of the console doesn't bother me because it is what it is, or that's what it costs to for them to make it and turn a profit off it. Like, to that I would say like, well, it sounds to me the profit it or the cost that it takes to make it and produce a profit off of it is $334. So like, does that change that opinion on the cost of the console at all, or do you still feel like 450 is fair?
I don't think I think when you compare it to that price, where how is it on this that there is a lower price version of it, that the only difference of it is it's region locked. That to me sounds like Nintendo is overly inflating what their hardware is worth.
We're being punished. We're being punished.
That's
Well,
right.
no,
I'm with Manny on
well,
that one. Like it's not
yeah.
worth $450.
It's not.
So like that's where my problem. Like I do have a problem with the cost of the console because it clearly doesn't need to cost that. They're overly inflating it unnecessarily and artificially.
It's it's the Gaijin tax. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's
the
like
Gaijin tax.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're being punished. They're being punished.
We're
They
gonna-
don't
Well,
like
yeah,
us.
they
They're
want
gonna hurt
they
us.
want a high profit margin. This is what they're going to do. They feel they deserve it. Like Brett, that's the thinking over there. They feel they deserve it
Mhm.
for all their hard work. That pricing is fair. They don't see any of this stuff, like all those messages in the treehouse, all the backlash they're getting. They're going to ignore it. The only thing they're going to understand is money at the end of the day. If the sales underperform, that is the only thing they're going to understand, because that messaging is going to resonate. It's like, it costs too much. These games cost too much. The system costs too much for what it is. You have to lower it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's your-
man.
even when the holidays come around, granted, we already talked about it. We see the numbers. Almost every person out there has a PlayStation of some sort. So if someone's looking for new hardware, then maybe. But let's say you don't have a PlayStation or an Xbox, and then there's a Switch. They're now competing in that same price range.
Yep.
And with where do you go? Where do you think a parent or a young teen who's got some money, where should they go to get? And I would tell them, well, I think your PlayStation.
Get a PlayStation.
Just from the back library and all the stuff that you can do with it, and it just seems a lot of these features that Switch wants to charge. So that's what I'm saying. It just seems like who's really going to pay for all this? Because even like you said, we said I think a lot of it's we see the pricing of the console. We weren't like, oh wow, that's horrible, because we sort of assumed it was going to be kind of hard. It was like high. I mean, it was like, okay, it's a tough pill to swallow, but man, what's tougher is 80 to 90 for a game. And when you start adding that up, or let's say you go to ring it up and you start thinking, shoot, $80 plus tax, and then you try to get another controller, or you want just a pro controller, and it's like, oh, another 8. It's like, it just seems like the whole process seems very painful, financially, that I just don't see people just jumping in like, oh yeah, I want to get it. For what? For a Mario Kart right now? That Mario Party that they were showing? No, when you can just go play so many other good games on other platforms. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, what's up, Rich?
Well, first and foremost, to go to what Adam said, $80, $90, that better be one hell of a game. for me to spend that kind of money? No. And I do want to answer Brett's question. When you make that comparison, yeah, it's definitely not worth the price. For me personally, it isn't worth any price because I have a Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck has more options than the Nintendo Switch. So it's just not going to happen for me. But I will say this though, because you guys want me to also say some positive stuff instead of all the negative, and I know somebody listening to this is going to be like, well, where is the positive feedback? Let me just say this.
To make a shout out to you, brother, if you've been listening to us this long, ragging on the Switch, because he's already getting one. He's like, I'm pre-ordering. I think he actually literally is going to pre-order 2 of them, you know? So
okay. He's already pre-ordered one of them.
Okay, so there you go.
So I guess if we are on the fence and we need to be convinced, is he volunteering himself as somebody that can buy us a Switch too? Is that what he's going to do?
I don't know, man. Go ahead. Yeah, Rich, if you want to say anything positive.
But let me just say this. Nintendo, I don't believe they're going to change any pricing, but I will say this. They are going to have an opportunity to really build more anticipation for this system. Obviously, we know what's coming out in June. Next month is PAX East. And Nintendo normally always is at PAX East. They haven't really announced anything quite yet, so I would be surprised if they aren't going to have some hands-on opportunities at PAX East because they want to get more attention to it because the system is coming out literally at the beginning of the summertime. So that is an opportunity that I do expect them to push very heavily, and I will be at PAX East. So that should be quite interesting. But outside of that, I have zero interest in getting this system because I have a Steam Deck.
There you go. By the way, shout out to Daniel Lawson, Kuel himself, for the $5. He says, just get a PC, LOL. You get all the games one way or another. Wink.
QL is saying this because the Switch is got an NVIDIA chip.
Exactly. I was about to say.
Team AMD.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the unsaid part when he said get a PC. Get a PC, just make sure it only has AMD components. You know, that's the unsaid part. Yeah.
QL, man.
You already know, man.
AMD's new chipset has fucking upset some of the PC building market. I'm not sure if any of you guys have been super on top of that, but looks like AMD might be back in the races here pretty soon.
Or in the race. I don't know if I'm back in it. Yeah. They've never been in it, you know?
I mean, there was a time in the before 4 times when we were still making those things out of flint and stone that, you know, we made processors out of banging rocks together that AMD was a pretty good rock, but it's been a hot fucking minute. I'll say that much.
Yeah, but you know that's a whole other conversation because Nvidia's kind of fucking up right now a lot. But yeah, any last thoughts on the Switch DOS?
Meh.
That's
yeah.
That's my answer.
It's an insult. It's an insult to gamers. This whole thing was a slap in the face. It was just Nintendo, their greed was just on full display. This thing. Yep. That was the most disappointing thing about it. It was just like, this really, for what you're offering, what you're showing us, like this is the prices you're gonna put out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I guess that's the actually real final question. Besides Carlos, who's gonna buy this thing on the panel?
I'm voting with my wallet.
There you go.
Which means I'm not buying it.
Yeah. What's up, Rich?
I am going to be playing some Nintendo games. I didn't say I will be playing those games on Switch too, though. So there you go. That's my answer.
My answer is I'm probably going to do a review on it, so I don't have to buy it. PS5 Pro situation, people. You know, but no. Here's the thing. I'll again, just to say something positive. That Donkey Kong game looks pretty dope. Not gonna lie. And they finally did what I've always said they should have done with the Switch One. If you play games docked, you get it upscales. That's good. It even has fans in there for better performance. These are good things, you know. But
The last one did upscaling. It just still didn't look good.
It just didn't look good. Yeah, this is
That-
supposed to be like up to 4K
Yeah.
upscaling, and 1440p. So I got to give him credit for that. And again, that Donkey Kong game was cool because my favorite game of the Switch was Mario Odyssey. This looked kind of like a weird spiritual successor and stuff. And I know some motherfuckers complain about the Donkey Kong's design. Like, that's the way he used to look, bro. You know?
Yeah.
No,
People don't understand that's how he used to look.
Yeah.
They redesigned him a little bit, but that's what they do every time. Anytime they, Mario doesn't look exactly the same way as he did before either.
Yeah, exactly. But people, the new design. It's not a new design, bro.
Look him up
They
in
kinda-
Punch Out. See how
That's
it
the way he
says
used to
refs.
look.
They just kind of
Exactly.
melded. Well, they melded things from the Rare one, but Nintendo
Yeah.
wants to get away from the Rare design.
Yeah, that's a good
Donkey Kong
point.
Country, Donkey Kong has been the standard bearer since the 90s, right? They want to put their stamp on it, so they kind of went back to his old design. They kept the tie. He
Mhm.
still has the red tie, but he looks like more classic.
Yeah. And I will say this, even though obviously it's interesting, it's hard to say anything too positive because, again, the pricing just sours everything. But I will say it is good that Nintendo finally has a console that's able to play more big third-party games. Street Fighter 6 is on this shit. Elden Ring's on this. Again, questionable performance. We don't know how well they'll run, but at least they're trying. I know that's kind of an insult
that.
too, but listen, but obviously listen. But yeah, shout out to Reggie. But that train's not gonna last very long either because obviously when we move over to the PS6 and shit, instantly obsolete. Go ahead.
Tony.
Yeah.
Question.
Oh.
If you can see the smile on my face now, then you probably would know.
Okay.
Do you think
it
GTA 6 will be on the
I
Switch?
knew it.
Hey. I'm not saying I'm not. Brian, here's my prediction: GTA 5 will be on this thing.
Brian,
GTA
by the
6
way,
has to be on the Switch to justify that pricing. People will be like, "Well, can I play this on? I just spent $500 in tax and all this other bullshit."
Yeah.
It better be. On.
But yeah, I'm not answering that question. They got me in trouble last time.
Yeah,
Then
we'll
I gotta
just-
buy
we'll just
this
wait and
$100
see.
game.
Just wait and see.
So allow me to answer that question. No way in hell. But yeah, GTA 5, yes. So they can come after me if it does happen. Yeah, I will be held accountable. But I tell you right now, it's not happening. It's no way in hell.
it would have been hilarious if the presentation started with GTA 5.
That would have been funny, like the PS5. Oh man, but yeah, I think yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Just going back real quick to since I will be an early adopter of the Nintendo Switch DOS.
We expect a full review.
That's what I was saying. Full review right here on Throwdown.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give the full review. But one of the things. So here's what I'm looking forward to it about this. Number one, like I mentioned earlier, Donkey Kong. It looks good. Mario Kart. I'll probably get the Mario Kart bundle edition thing. So I'll play that and I'll give my thoughts on that. Number two, Dustbloods, Bloodborne,
Yeah, whatever.
Dustbloods or whatever that is. I mean, I'm with Tony. When I saw the multiplayer portion, I'm like, God damn it. But we'll see. I mean, it is from software, so maybe they'll surprise us. Who knows? And also, another one is I do want to try playing Breath of the Wild with the upgrade expansion thing on it, just to see how it looks and runs. Because that was my biggest issue. One of my biggest issues with the original Breath of the Wild. It just looked like shit on my TV. On my TV?
On my TV.
And last but not least, I am, without a shadow of a doubt, going to play Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
And I
But that's
don't
also
wanna
coming
play
to the Switch. Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't want to play it on the Switch. I don't want to.
Yo.
I don't want to put my eyes under that torture of trying to focus. I'm like, yo, man, this is 720. Because apparently, and people have been people. I saw a video of folks that were playing it on the showcase. It's legit running 1080p, 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something that for a Nintendo
Gotta have
console,
something.
Gotta have something. So it's like, well, that's at least some.
You think that one's
intriguing.
gonna be a $80 price?
It might not because it's a cross-gen game, but it might just be more expensive. Who knows? I wouldn't put it past Nintendo.
You
I
know?
know Chris is about to be like,
I
"Yep,
think
yeah,
the first parties will, because they're charging for an upgrade pack for it. They showed, I
Yeah.
mean, the last week's direct, they showed it running on the Switch. Of course, like Carlos said, it looked like ass, the muddy textures and whatever. And then that was just made this one look better, right? But it has an upgrade pack as well. So that goes with my tinfoil hat theory. I noticed nobody commented on it. I guess I had 2 tinfoil hats stacked on top of each other. But I think the emulation, I think that's a. I'm gonna stick with that until they prove me wrong.
Yeah, but I got offended by something on Twitter right now.
Oh, speaking of,
And you know, I don't get offended very easily. But some website called ITV News, they said the most influential video game you've probably never heard of, and it's Shenmue.
what?
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
He actually won an award. Too.
Yeah, that's why this article exists. But it's like you've never heard of. Oh, stop! That's
the person who wrote that is young. That's what.
To be fair,
Crack
who
rocks.
knows about the younger generation?
Yeah.
They probably don't know it, but I mean.
By the way,
Yeah,
speaking about
and
Shenmue, which influenced Yakuza. Yakuza's coming to the Nintendo Switch too.
Oh yeah, Yakuza Zero, right?
Yeah, the Yakuza Zero.
I heard bad things about that one on how it's running on the Switch.
I heard. Yeah, you heard. Wait, about how it runs. Not bad things about the game. The game's fantastic.
Yeah, the game's great.
You know.
Also, I will. Man, they're gonna get so much money from me. Fuck Nintendo.
Damn, Carlos, you're gonna spend $1,000 on these motherfuckers.
Well, I need to get the Pro controller, man.
Yeah, you do.
That's how I rocked the original.
Well, doesn't the original one work with the Switch too?
I believe it does.
You don't have that button. It's missing that one button.
Yeah.
Man.
You need that chat button.
Oh, yeah. You're not playing with nobody,
button.
Carlos. You're good. You don't need that shit.
You know.
I got
Just use
friends.
Discord like you're doing now.
Yeah, unless we're all playing Dust Bloods.
That's what, yeah.
There will be blood.
There would be blood.
I mean, and also like echoing what Tony mentioned earlier, it's at least a step in, a progressional step that they're trying to appease to third party developers, because what they did last generation was just an abomination.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's good that they're actually trying to get other games to be on their system, so at least they can sell their system as a console.
Third party support is pretty impressive. I'll give them that.
Man, think about that. Puts pressure on the third party, because then, all right, your first party's $80, right? If that's where they're going with some of these titles. So let's say you're a third party and you have a very popular game. You like your game. It's doing well at the $70 mark elsewhere. Do you want to compete with the first party and say, you know what? We'll put it at 80, because if we leave it at 70, we might be seen as a lesser. And no one wants to be a lesser, right? That's why we get the term competitive pricing.
Yeah.
So does that put pressure on these developers to have to raise their price? Because people are like, man, why are you charging so much then if it's this price on the other platforms?
Yo, speaking of scummy corporations, this is what I would do if I was an asshole. Which you are. Be what I would do. It might just be what I would do. If I was Rockstar, I would advertise the hell out of GTA 5 to release around the time the Switch 2 comes out. Be like, it's gonna be on the Switch 2, and delay the fucking 6. And be like, that shit's gonna come out on GTA 6 to 2026. Somewhere in 2026. And now they're going to milk the shit out of GTA 5 sales on the fucking Switch 2, man.
That'd be hilarious.
It'll sell on a Nintendo console.
That's funny.
I mean, if they want to hurt them, all they have to do is say, hey, GTA 6 coming, list all the platforms except the Switch 2. And that's it. People be like, wait, on this new system I want to get, it's not going to be on there? Nope.
And also, no, I don't know if anybody's seen anything around the online thing. I wonder how that's gonna work. If is friend code still gonna be a thing?
Imagine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past Nintendo, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, man. I start wrapping this thing up here. Manny, what are you plugging?
Yes. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 7, 8, and coming this month is issue 9, which will be I think it'll be Raphael or Michelangelo. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's a couple series by Kari Randolph and myself. And Naruto, Teenage Mutant Turtles Naruto cover by Kari Randolph and myself. Not to mention, coming this month on the weekend of the 11th, I will be at C2E2 at table H15. So go to the Artist Alley if you're there and say what's up. I'll have some fun stuff there. You know, we can shoot the shit.
Nice. Adam, what you got, man? I know you got some cool stuff coming.
Whole bunch of stuff. Shit's falling on the floor. Damn figgies. All right, so let's see. One right now, Last of Us 2 remastered review on Steam Deck is over on the Coalition. You can check that out. Was playing it. It was at the time it wasn't verified. It was running like a champ, and you'll see I have performance overlays on all my screenshots. It was running very well. Halfway through the game, no issues. And then the day before launch, next you know, poof. And I sent you guys the image. It said it's verified. So I put a little note on the top, got verified. So check that out there. Launched a new YouTube channel called The TV Terminal. And that's out there on YouTube. Go check it out. Bam. This is it. This is the big one. As you guys know, I always talk a lot about TV shows. Finished just doing Reacher. Well, now got this other channel. This is going to be covering full series. So right now we're doing Mobland. That's the first one. Then, of course, we got The Last of Us. That's coming. It's going to be great. So you can go look that up. The TV Land, the TV Terminal, right over on YouTube doing that. I got something else going on with Rich. And Carlos, we got some other things that are happening. The Walking Dead is coming back. So we got that. The I Am Negan is coming back. We're looking forward to talking about all that stuff going on. Then the artwork also on the TV Terminal. Got Manny, thankfully, is doing a lot of that stuff. That's great. I did a new intro track. So if you guys are familiar with all the intro shit that I do, I have a new intro track on there. So you can check that out. You were going to say something? I
was going to say the I Am Negan and the other podcasts are still Coalition podcasts, correct?
Yeah. They're still Coalition. There'll always be Coalition. All the other Reacher stuff, all that stuff, that's still all there. We're still doing the whole thing, right? So no, I did not leave. It's none of that stuff. No, it's just expanding. I got all these other shows that I want to start doing and I'm crazy. Even when special events, I plan on covering the World Cup when that happens and doing things. It's that type of stuff. But no, I'm still very much part of that. We're still covering a lot of the stuff that we do. Still going to be on a Coalition. So that's it. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, man. So there you go. TV Terminal.
I'll ask this question at their show.
All right. And of course, speaking about the Coalition, Rich, what's happening the Coalition this weekend?
The Coalition.
Well, myself, Dana, and Gary, we'll be recording the next episode of Power, which will be out sometime tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I actually published today my review of South of Midnight. Nice. And I have also been experimenting with some video stuff. So I actually made a video of that review as well. So, I'm going to possibly be doing some more of that type of stuff. I'll still be writing content, but I want to get into some video stuff. So that should be quite interesting. But yeah, check that out. Check out the website if you want to get my thoughts on the game. As for what else is coming, there are a lot of other things I'm working on that are under an embargo, so I can't really talk about it quite yet. But one other thing I will mention, I did check out the Den of Wolves game as well. I did a preview for that, so check that also out on thecoalition.com. And just stay tuned because I will have a lot of more reviews and previews coming within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Real quick, I just saw this on Twitter. Somebody goes, I'm just going to leave this here. It's a picture of the Steam Deck, $399 for 250 gigs LCD. Yeah, $50 less than the fucking Switch 2, bro. Also, and I think since we're plugging stuff, I just got this from Hori. This is the new Fight Pad Commander. This is not actually released yet. This is dropping on April 11th. I've been talking about this on the podcast for a little bit. Finally came in. I played about 2 hours of it. Fucking amazing. This might be I've been buying these controls from Hori since like Street Fighter 4 days. This is the perfect one. Wireless, amazing. So I'll have a full review for you guys soon. But other than that, we're done here. So yeah, man, make sure you check us out on Twitch and Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Join the Discord. And check us out on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
It was great to have you here, Mr. Brett Murdoch.
As always, it has been a pleasure, party people.
We couldn't have had this episode without one of your rants, man. It was fucking awesome.
I'm gonna try and be here more. I'm coming off the meds, so
there you go.
More fight, so.
Love it, man. Love it.
Y'all hear more from me soon.
Awesome. Adam Vale.
Yeah, man. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
And of course, Brian Majoma.
Clearly, NetEase knows exactly who the audience is.
Oh shit! We may talk. Ask us questions about because there's other shit that happened in gaming this week. So ask us about it, man. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday. Later.
Leaders.